And you speak very well now. How's that? How come?
Because I worked with many companies so far, and
Hmm.
I got exposure for American clients. I worked with Australian clients, and so
Hmm.
somehow I learned how to speak, how to conversation that.
Oh, okay,
And
very good.
my schooling is also from convent school, so that is maybe the reason.
Ah, from convent school. Okay, interesting. How come you went to convent school?
Me, just like my other friends are also going to the same school, and my we can afford to go there. It is not very expensive though to afford, but yes, because my age is 37 years. So when I was studying that time, so that was quite leisure to join. But yes, we were able to afford that.
Okay. And how was it different, your education there to any other kind of school?
They are good because English, spoken English is a big thing in India. We
Hmm.
always, because this is a language of profession, long
Hmm.
language of business. To interact with
Hmm.
many people, and our
Hmm.
native language is Hindi. So the first
Hmm.
primary goal for our parents to send our kids to that school where they can learn language, except
Hmm.
Hindi, and
Hmm.
English is of course the on priority. So that is
Hmm.
something attracts us to go there. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So nothing to do with religion?
No, nothing.
No.
Not for us.
Okay. But then surely that was like central though to your daily life though, at school.
I didn't understand. I mean, about
Um,
the culture of a school you're talking about, or because that was a missionary school. That is the reason you're asking.
exactly. Because, well, in English, a convent school is obviously like Christian or Catholic based. So that would
Yes,
form
that's right.
part of like everyday life and most of your education kind of being centered around that.
Yes, although my school was not very stringent about their terms and their behavior, the environment of school, to be honest. But yes, it was
Mm,
quite in terms of English, or in terms of education, and they develop the personality of kids entirely. That was definitely good, and I appreciate that. But that was not very stringent for us, like very
hmm.
missionary kind of a thing. That was not the case.
Okay. So in general, are your family Christian or Catholic?
No, we are
No.
Brahmin.
Okay. This is why I thought it was interesting when you said it, why to pick up on that, because I mean, I know there are lots of Christians and Catholics in India, but it's not one of the predominant religions, obviously. Um, okay, so in which case it was just considered to offer a better education, yeah, in your parents'
Yeah.
eyes. Uh-huh. Okay. But for you as a young person, how did exposure to those kinds of teachings uh, affect you or interfere a little with maybe what you understood of as religion in your home life?
I didn't understand the question very
Okay,
well.
did because if you're going to school and you're receiving, even if it wasn't very strict, you would have done or would have had quite a large influence, I think, of Christianity or Catholicism. And so that's very different to what you received and what you grew up understanding in your home life, which was based on, say, Brahmanism. Yep. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. So yeah, so that is something. See, we all know that Christianity are somehow connected with some English culture for sure. As far as we Brahmins understand the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we do not have the big exposure for Catholic family or a typical Christian family, but their
Mm-hmm.
attire, their sanity, how they maintain themselves, how to speak,
Mm-hmm.
how to interact with people is somehow we are learning since we were like 200 years back or 100 years back. We are learning the same things in India, especially. I'm talking about that for
Mm-hmm.
these many years. So that is
Mm-hmm.
something which is very attractive for us, especially non-English families, Brahmins or Indian families. So that was the
Mm-hmm.
first forte we believe. But now the trend has been changed. We are not very much concentrating on those parts now, because many of Indians also speaking good English nowadays, and we have improved a
Mm-hmm.
lot by the
Mm-hmm.
time. So that
Mhm.
the tangent or the shift of the particular thing has been changed now, what I realized. But yes,
Mhm.
that time when I was studying in missionary, that definitely affected me in a positive way. And I
Mhm.
realized that that is the reason I have brought up like that. I have worked with many companies so far, many type of people around the globe, and that is one of the reason I found so that's something I realized. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. I just meant as a young person, like as a child, there's a lot of confusing messages to have of what's considered to be right or wrong. And I think in Christianity or the Catholic Church, there's a very strong focus on that, whereas other religions perhaps take a different or have a different perspective on that. What do you think?
When you say Catholic, like what is the major difference between Catholic and other one is?
Christianity. Oh, it's a good question.
Yeah.
That's quite complex. Yeah. So, I mean, both use the Bible. I'd say in the Catholic Church, Mary is kind of reverend more than Jesus. In Christianity, it's Jesus who's considered to be, I guess, the leader and who gives advice. So it's just the two different schools of thought, but based on the Bible. Okay, that's all. And I think although obviously there's a spiritual aspect as well, it mostly I feel focuses more on like morals and what's considered to be morally right or wrong, and
Mhm.
punishing people if they don't do things correctly, which I feel is
Right,
more
because
restrictive
in
in the
my
perhaps
locality,
other.
because yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
Mhm.
Church and the name of this is Pentecostal Church. So is that somehow different from Catholic?
Oh, I don't.
The
I think.
difference by this church name. Uh-huh.
Oof, I don't know. Later,
Pentecostal
there's lots
Church.
of
It is the
different
oldest
kinds.
one.
Yeah, there's all sorts that will be from the different apostles, the different saints, etc., which would be their own take on Christianity, I guess. No, and I have no idea. I can't inform you. But the idea being perhaps that other religions potentially are more spiritual, possibly, in kind of connecting
Mhm.
perhaps with soul, afterlife, karmas, reincarnation, the universe. That's
Okay.
something that
Uh,
Christianity and the Catholic Church don't focus on. I don't know. So, like in Brahmin, for example, what do you
okay.
think?
Yeah, follow that the same thing, karma cycle. Even I follow this is something everybody do not follow it because they have some their own kind of cycles, karma cycle and
Mhm.
Gita, Bhagavad. I follow Bhagavad Gita a lot. I follow the even I chant once one mantra. So that is something very specific to
Mhm.
people, their priorities. But yes, it's not incarnation, only karma cycle. I believe it is somehow very dominant. And if you see in other religions too, in Christianity, probably other part of the globe, they also somehow believe in the same cycle. Like, that whatever you do, definitely you have to repay back if it is negative, and if it is
Mhm.
somehow the cycle is same more or the less.
But I don't think that's kind of enshrined so much in Western religions, formal religions. And for me, that's the difference. I think in Eastern religions, of which there obviously are a big number of, most of them focus on similar aspects of it. Whereas I think Christianity and the Catholic Church don't focus so much on that side, other than perhaps the idea of heaven or hell, but it's more in like punishing or rewarding you for your actions rather than perhaps you taking responsibility and realizing that your present reality is constructed from your previous actions. I think for me that's one of the big differences.
Well, I there is some ambiguity, I'm pretty sure. Christians, I would say one of my friend was also Christian, and he switched from Christianity to follow ISKCON. So people like from Christianity or from other religion, they are converting themselves from one culture or one religion, not religion, the
Mm-mm.
religious paths from one to another, I guess. So that's why they're moving to ISKCON, and they are doing Hare. Maybe they are not very convinced with religion or the ideology, I believe. That's why they are converting as well. Because there is, yes, you are right, there is there. And maybe that is the reason nobody can justify what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah, maybe. Exactly. I think you're right, especially nowadays with more information around. I think people are less have a less of a desire to kind of conform to a particular way of thinking, and perhaps want more autonomy in building what's right for you as a person. I think so. Perhaps we've got a bit of a pick and mix approach to life in general, not just when it comes to religion or spirituality, but in everything from education to bringing up children, etc. Yeah, I think there's the power of the internet, isn't it, for good or for bad?
Yeah. Available on Google, so everything you can type and you get the information. But again, so ultimately you need to things in your life that the ultimate all concept is whatever you follow, whether it is right or wrong, or if you're following any sort of ideology, any learning without implementation, not doing anything, right? So we read a lot, we refer a lot, but ultimately, if you're not applying in our life, you are on, that is worthless.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think it doesn't matter if it's even based on religion or just based on, I don't know, emotional development or personal development. I think it's anything in life, isn't it? We can read and read and read, but until we actually put things into practice, then yeah, quite right, then everything is pointless. And again, perhaps this is one of the problems with the internet, that we have access to so much information that we get very greedy but superficially consume the information, possibly.
Yes, that is right. Okay. Yes, we have only 52 seconds left to wind up. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It was really nice, very informative.
Very good. Yep. And you say you speak very well. I think, like I said, to most people who obviously have Hindi as their native language, some issues that come up with English is the same stress on each syllable on a word and speaking very quickly. So I always suggest to people to try and listen out for the stress syllable, slow down when speaking to make sure you get the natural rise and fall of a word and of the sentences. But yeah, excellent vocabulary and very well communicated. Well done. Good.